I've always been fascinated by animals and what they're doing.
When I was growing up, my parents always exposed us to these science videos.
I've always loved biology. I think it's because, they tell you not to say this, but when I was a little girl, I just loved being outside. And I know this sounds strange, but I've always loved playing with insects, so I'm an entomologist and a biologist.
Many of us are influenced by our parents. And my father used to take us out when we were little just to go, he would call them, we're going to go out and catch some lizards when we lived out in Las Vegas. About 5 years ago, I was watching TV, and there was this advertisement for this, what I call them doggy drugs. You give the dogs this drug, and they have complete flea and tick control. And I started to think, well, why could we use that with Lyme disease and treat mice?
We work a lot with pollinating species. So I have a student that's working on a master's degree, and he was the state apiary inspector. And people don't realize this, but 60% of honeybees in the United States come here for the summer to rest from all the hard work they do. We ship them in on tractor trailers. And they just pollinate alfalfa and canola and just try to get better from all the hard work they do pollinating almonds and blueberries and cranberries and melons and apples all over the United States.
We try to understand stuff all the way from autism, like I said, to ADHD, and some other folks in my lab is looking at the older part of brain development, how we can mark early Alzheimer's just by looking at your eyes.
We need our food, we need agriculture, it's an important part of our economy. But there are ways of doing those things that don't necessarily muck it up for everybody else that lives out there, like the frogs or the ducks or whatever it happens to be. And so, I think that's a contribution right there, because we can have, in a way, we can have our cake and eat it too. We can do the things that are important to human societies, and if we're smart about it, we don't necessarily lose biodiversity, which is a big concern nowadays.
The invasive species are a huge problem in terms of insects. They come across on all sorts of things. When I worked with Department of Agriculture, we had some that come across on packing materials of Italian tile.
When I got into taking entomology classes, entomology, people think it's kind of a geeky thing, but it's actually a very big field, large field, and there's many ways you can go. And the thing that attracted me most with entomology was the disease aspect, transmission of disease, and that really fascinated me. So that's the direction I took. I think it's a mistake to think of humans as separate from other species in the world. We are very interconnected. We depend upon, let's take our insects. Okay, we depend upon insects to pollinate our crops. Okay, we depend on insects to make products for us. Okay, we compete with insects as competitors for our food and our fiber. And in my instance, we have insects that could transmit diseases. So we are intimately involved with other species, whether they're insects, whether they're bacteria, whether they're viruses. They impact our lives. And
the mosquitoes and the ticks are also great examples of sort of the intersection of ecology and, say, public health.